Communication is one of the major issues, and when we go into shops and review businesses, communication is one of the things that we find that is severely lacking in most businesses. And I think that it's a matter of, man, I'm really busy. I have so much to do today and tomorrow and all week and all month, that to sit down and have a meeting or to sit down and have conversations with people just kind of gets thrown out. It doesn't fit. I have all these cars to do, the phone's ringing off the hook, we got to get this work out of here, and stopping everything to communicate and to have a conversation, a team meeting or an individual meeting is difficult. And so I would tell you that if communication is important, and it really, really is, and if communication is one of the things that creates a business that is successful and a life that's successful, period, then I need to set aside times to communicate. In my company, as a manager, one of the things that we do regularly is we have a weekly company meeting. And there are different types of meetings, which we will actually talk about in tip number 36 when we get more into company meetings. But I think that if I don't set aside time to communicate with people and communicate with staff, then that doesn't happen. So in our company on Mondays at 10 o'clock, we have a company meeting. Now, you might say, wow, it's really, Cecil, you don't understand. It would be very difficult for us to stop everything on a certain time and have a meeting. But I think it's so important, I think it's so essential that I would tell you that you're crazy not to actually even do that. Now, I travel a lot. I'm often gone, I'm often on the road, I'm in shops, working with owners, managers, whoever. And so I'm not always here on Monday at 10 o'clock. But I can tell you that my company has a meeting on Monday at 10 o'clock. It's funny, we moved to a new facility, which is where we're filming today. The facility is not finished. We have some internet issues. We can't get internet here for at least probably another 60 days. There are other problems, and yet every Monday at 10 o'clock, we sit down and we have a meeting. Now, if I'm not here, I might come in via the internet. We have an employee that can't really work from here that does a lot of our internet stuff. That employee comes in over the internet and is actually present for the meeting, at least on a computer. Why do we do this, even if we're not here? I think because it makes us a better team. It allows us to discuss things that aren't working. It allows us to praise and reward the team or individuals because they did something well, or the team is hitting its goals and its targets. So what I would tell you, and some of you are going to listen and some of you are going to not listen, is that you should have a weekly meeting with your staff, entire staff. In my company, my automotive shop, we did that on Wednesdays at lunch. And we shut the place down, we brought lunch in for the team, and we sat down and we had a team meeting. We'll talk about agendas and structure for team meetings in our next tip, so I don't want to go into that too deeply. But we set aside time, and that meeting happened regardless. The only time that we didn't have a Wednesday meeting in our company was if Christmas or a holiday fell on that Wednesday, and then that was a missed meeting, and we had a meeting the next Wednesday. You need to create patterns and structure so that everyone knows that this is what we're going to do. And one of the things that I found that it did in my company was it helped us not to gossip and waste time out in the bays, because we knew that on Wednesday, if we had an issue, we could bring it to the table and that it would be openly discussed and we could solve that issue. I believe that owners need a place to say, I'm not happy with what's going on and I want a different result in my company. And I think you don't do that if you're not having regular communication. I think that employees need a place where they can come in and say, I'm not happy with this, or this isn't working the way that I want, or hey, I need this equipment, and that was our Wednesday meetings. Now, again, we'll get into that more deeply. Now, there's another type of meeting that a lot of shops have. I call that a quarterback meeting. That's the 5-minute kind of scrum that you have in the morning, every morning, and you talk about what's going on in the shop today. Hey, we got Mr. Smith coming in. I'm going to give that to Bob. Bob, I know there's going to be quite a bit of work on that. I want you to get that thing inspected quickly. We've got, Tom, we've got these cars coming in. Today's going to be a very busy day. It's going to be important that, blah, blah, blah. We had our parts people there, we had our techs there, we had our service advisors there for the 5-minute scrum in the morning. And that kind of set the tone for the day. I think that's an important meeting. Now, that doesn't take the place of a company meeting and the communication that happens within a company meeting. In the 5-minute scrum, we're really kind of talking about what's going to happen today, or what we think is going to happen today. In the company meeting, we're delving into issues and problems that we see, things that are working well, that we'd like to do more of, or things that aren't working, and how do we do this better. Now, there's another important communication, and I think that's kind of an individual communication, a one-on-one. And if I'm a manager of people, then I need to have some one-on-one communication. I need to get to know my people. I need to know their families. Do they have kids? Do they, what's going on in their lives? And that is a one-on-one type meeting. Now, there are two types of one-on-one meetings. One would be kind of an informal meeting, and that's where I come out to you. It could be in the bay, it could be in the customer service area. Frankly, I could have other people around, and that's kind of a, hey, how you doing today? What's going on? How's it going? If at that point I feel like I need more, and there's more serious things that need to be discussed, then I bring that employee into my office. I shut the door, and we have a conversation that's a more serious conversation. So there's the casual, how's it going? At the end of the day, I think we had this a lot with a lot of my employees. They would, on their way out, they would come by my office and they'd say, hey boss, I'm leaving. And we kind of had a 2-minute, what's going on today, how to go today. And if they were down because it was a tough day, I tried to pump them back up and tell them that tomorrow's going to be a better day. And if they were up, I tried to keep them there. And so that the next morning they came in and they felt good about being in my business, and they felt like I cared about them. The second type of individual meeting is a formalized meeting. I have an issue to discuss with you. And I think here's where we often go wrong in small business. I'm a small things guy, meaning that when things are small, I try to take care of them. I don't want to wait until things get big. Many owners and managers are big things people, and they have to get themselves worked up to have a meeting or a disciplinary action with an employee. I think that's a mistake, because I think that anytime that you're worked up, you're not able to be the kind of manager or the kind of communicator that you need to be. So, better to meet with somebody when things are small and have a conversation when you see them heading down the wrong path, and get that taken care of. Now, so I have company meetings with my team. I have individual meetings that are formal and informal with my staff. And now we're going to talk just a little bit about another type of communication. And actually, I think we're going to do that in tip number 37. So we will go into better personal communication skills in tip number 37. Hope you enjoyed this. Please, please, please communicate with your people. Create lines and means of communication. Set up times on your calendar for team meetings and for individual meetings. And even if you don't have anything specific to go to or through, have a meeting with the individuals or with the team and ask them what they would like to talk about. Get it out. If it's a problem, we want to get it out in the open. We want to get it discussed. We want to get some sort of solution if we can. If nothing else, have a meeting where you sit down and you congratulate everybody because you just had your best month or your best week, or somebody did something outstanding. Thank you very much for your time. If you enjoyed this, please let us know, and have a wonderful day.
We hope you enjoyed this week's tip. For more information on the concepts we discussed, check out our upcoming classes at www.ifrabe.com/classes, or listen to the Leading Edge podcast at institutesleadingedge.podbean.com, where we discuss business topics just like this one with a panel of industry experts. You can also contact us whenever it's convenient, and we'll set up a free consultation on how the Institute can help you better your business, your life, and the industry as a whole. We'll see you guys next week.